Florida didn't collapse. That's what makes this dangerous. The sun still shines. The beaches are packed. But behind the postcards, Florida's systems are breaking. The people who see it aren't arguing online. They're packing. They're leaving. This isn't crime panic or politics. It's pressure. Insurance bills that exploded. Rents that outpaced wages. Cities built for growth that never planned for stress. Florida didn't become unlivable overnight. It became unforgiving. And that's when migration flips. The people leaving aren't tourists or retirees. They're locals, families who ran the math and didn't like the answer. If you think you know which cities are failing, stay with me. Because choosing wrong here costs more than money. This is the urban lens. Let's break it down. Number 6, Ocala, Florida. Ocala still markets itself as calm, quiet horse country. But lately, a lot of people aren't settling in, they're slipping out. From the outside, it looks relaxed. From the inside, people feel squeezed. Here's what Ocala really is now. Ocala sits in north central Florida, surrounded by horse farms, retirement communities, and miles of land that looks peaceful. It's branded as the horse capital of the world. Big estates, old oak trees, Spanish moss, and that simple life promise. For a long time, Ocala made sense. Homes were cheaper. Life moved slower. It felt like Florida without the Florida madness. Then the numbers changed. Home prices jump hard. From under $200,000 a few years ago to well over $300,000 today. Rents followed right behind, climbing fast while paychecks didn't. Most jobs still sit in healthcare, retail, or warehouse work, steady, but not exactly ladder-climbing careers. And while Ocala isn't violent, property crime is a constant complaint. Break-ins, theft, car issues, the kind of stuff that wears people down over time. What's interesting is the population trend. Growth didn't crash, it stalled. Renters started leaving. Some retirees quietly downsized again. People realized they could move 30 to 40 minutes away and get more for less. Ocala used to be cheap because it was slow. Now, it's expensive and slow, and that combination makes people rethink things. Living here doesn't feel like a sudden collapse. It feels like erosion. Development arrived fast, but planning didn't keep up. Traffic backs up on roads that were never meant for this many cars. New neighborhoods pop up, but everything feels half-finished, like the city is always catching its breath. One resident put it best. Ocala keeps growing, but life here doesn't feel better. And that's the real cost. Paying more without feeling improvement. Also, quick question, why does every main road feel like it was designed for wagons? 2 lanes. No turn lanes. Everyone guessing. And why is every new restaurant either a chain or named something like Rusty Saddle Smokehouse? I just want food, not a frontier experience. Ocala isn't dangerous. It's unsettling. And when uncertainty creeps in, especially for retirees on fixed incomes or families watching expenses rise, people don't argue. They move. Ocala isn't the worst place on this list. It's just where the promise and the reality quietly drifted apart. Number 5, Palm Coast, Florida. Palm Coast didn't crash. It slowly crowded itself out. This was meant to be Florida's easy mode. Quiet streets, predictable days, no drama. Turns out even calm has a limit. Here's what Palm Coast really is. Palm Coast sits between St. Augustine and Daytona Beach, right along the Atlantic. Planned communities, palm-lined roads, wide streets, and a culture built around early dinners, slow driving, and polite complaints at HOA meetings. For a long time, it worked. Low crime, clean neighborhoods, decent homes, enough nature to feel balanced without feeling rural. Then the secret got out. After 2020, population growth accelerated fast. Retirees arrived. Remote workers followed. Demand jumped before the town could adjust. Home prices surged from the low $200,000 to nearly $400,000 in just a few years. Rents climbed hard, but apartment supply barely moved. Healthcare didn't scale with the population either. Appointments now take weeks, sometimes longer. And infrastructure? Built for a smaller, slower Palm Coast. Now it's constant road work, heavier traffic, and neighborhoods that feel permanently under construction. Here's the strange part. Palm Coast is still very safe. Safer than most Florida cities. But safety doesn't equal sustainability. Palm Coast doesn't overwhelm you with chaos. It wears you down with friction. Every drive takes longer than it should. Jobs outside healthcare and retail are limited. Insurance keeps rising on homes that have never flooded. It's perfect if your life is already built. Not so perfect if you're still building it. That's the trap. Palm Coast offers security, but at a growing financial squeeze. You feel protected while slowly boxed in. Why does every errand take 25 minutes even when the place is 5 minutes away? The roads are wide, the speed limits are low, and everyone drives like they're balancing a glass sculpture in the trunk. And explain this. How are there dozens of golf courses, but almost nothing to eat after 9 p.m.? If I'm paying close to $400,000, late-night tacos shouldn't be controversial. Picture the lifestyle. Morning breeze. Palm trees barely moving. Coffee tastes better here. You feel calm, safe, almost proud. Then you check housing costs, or job listings, or insurance renewals, and you realize peace still send a bill every month. Palm Coast didn't fail. It just stopped working for people who need momentum instead of maintenance. Families want growth. Young professionals want options. Palm Coast offers stability until it quietly prices out the future. So be honest. Would you rather live somewhere calm but expensive, or hectic but affordable? Pick your stress. And if Palm Coast felt too controlled, the next town shows what happens when control is barely there at all. Like the video if you've ever said, "This place is nice, but," admit it emotionally. Subscribe, not out of loyalty, but because knowing where not to move is one of the smartest life cheats there is. One bad city decision can undo 5 good ones. Next up, where cheap land turned into expensive regret. Number 4, Kissimmee, Florida. You know what's ironic? Kissimmee is 5 minutes from Disney World, and somehow feels like the least magical place nearby. Turns out fairy tales don't cover rent. Kissimmee sounds like a cute vacation town, but it's very real, and lately very tired. Just south of Orlando, Kissimmee built its identity as the affordable neighbor to the theme parks. Close to the action, but not swallowed by it. It became home to service workers, large families, and people who wanted proximity without the price tag. Multicultural, busy, and full of hustle. Then the hustle moved in permanently. Here's what the numbers say. Median household income sits around the low $40,000s. Meanwhile, average rent for a 2-bedroom is now pushing past $2,000. Housing demand exploded after the pandemic, but supply didn't keep up. Cost of living now beats the national average, in a town where wages never caught up. Population is growing, but so is overcrowding. More people living in motels. More families sharing apartments. More quiet homelessness. One local summed it up perfectly. In Kissimmee, your neighbor might be a tourist or 3 families in one room. Tourism came roaring back. The paychecks didn't. And even when jobs are available, they don't cover the cost of living next to the attractions they support. That's the hidden price of living in Disney's shadow. Kissimmee has an identity crisis. It's close enough to Orlando that outsiders assume it's thriving. But locals know it absorbs the leftovers of the theme park economy. When tourists leave, the traffic stays. The trash stays. The inflated prices stay. Property taxes climbed. Insurance rates jumped. Flood zones shifted. And now, more people live in converted motels than in new apartment buildings. Crime here isn't the worst on this list, but poverty is creeping upward. And with limited upward mobility, residents are leaving. West of Tampa, north out of state, anywhere that feels less stuck. The happiest place on earth doesn't extend to the exit ramps. And can we talk about the roads? Driving in Kissimmee feels like being trapped inside a Hot Wheels set designed by chaos. Your GPS says 17 minutes. Reality says 45 plus frustration. And bonus points for parking lots that flood every time it rains. Nothing says Florida living like stepping out of Target straight into ankle-deep mystery water. Picture the lifestyle. Palm trees, heavy air, laughter drifting from a theme park you can't afford to enter. Your apartment smells like 5 different dinners at once. You leave before sunrise. You come home after dodging tourists, traffic, and 2 shifts of work. It's not hell, but it doesn't feel like home anymore either. Kissimmee is stuck in between. Not fully local. Not fully tourist. Not affordable enough to stay. Not strong enough to grow. The community is resilient, but resilience doesn't pay flood insurance. And here's the kicker. It's now cheaper to rent in parts of St. Petersburg than it is in Kissimmee. One's on the coast. The other's next to a castle. Guess which one has rising homelessness? Number 3, Fort Pierce. Fort Pierce has been labeled on the rise for what feels like forever, and yet it still feels like a city waiting for its moment that never fully shows up. The ingredients for a turnaround are there, but every time momentum builds, something knocks it sideways. Rising costs, crime concerns, insurance pressures. It's a comeback story that keeps getting paused mid-chapter. So what is Fort Pierce, really? Welcome to Fort Pierce, the Sunrise City. Sitting on Florida's Treasure Coast, this was once a proud port town with deep roots, beautiful waterfront views, and an economy built on citrus, fishing, and that classic small-town Florida identity. On the surface, it still looks like a place with potential. The kind of town where you drive through and think, this should be better than it is. And that's the problem. It should be, but it usually isn't. Here's what the numbers paint. Violent crime runs well above national averages. Median household income sits around the low $40,000 range. Rents have climbed to roughly the mid-$600s per month in many areas. A sharp increase in a city where wages haven't kept pace. The job market is narrow, leaning heavily on service work, agriculture, and lower-paying tourism-related roles. And poverty levels remain significantly higher than much of Florida. That's what makes Fort Pierce complicated. The waterfront is beautiful. Local markets and small businesses add charm. But underneath that, the economic pressure is real. If you're not already established, building something stable here can feel like swimming against a current that never lets up. Fort Pierce feels like a city in a waiting room. Not collapsing, not fully growing, just stuck in between. And living in between takes a toll. It's not explosive stress. It's slow burnout. Everything is almost there. Almost affordable. Almost connected. Almost full of opportunity. But almost becomes exhausting when it's year after year. That's why people leave. Not out of anger, but out of fatigue. They don't hate Fort Pierce. They just get tired of waiting for the promise to finally turn into reality. And let's be honest about the infrastructure. Some roads feel like they've been patched a dozen times, and none of those patches fully worked. You're dodging potholes, cones, and uneven pavement like it's a driving challenge mode. One block looks cared for. The next looks forgotten. There's no consistency. Fort Pierce isn't a city in collapse. It's a city that keeps coming up short. When crime rises, costs rise, and progress lags behind, people stop betting on potential. They start looking for places that already work, not places that might someday. Number 2, Lehigh Acres. Lehigh Acres is Florida's land of opportunity that forgot to finish building the city around it. It's a place where empty lots outnumber actual destinations, and unfinished roads feel like part of the design. Somehow, it's managed to become a living symbol of big promises that never quite showed up. Lehigh Acres isn't your typical Florida town. It's a massive, unincorporated sprawl on the Gulf Coast. It was originally sold as affordable paradise, cheap land, big plots, and a grid of roads laid out with bold confidence. The idea was simple. Buy land now, build your future later. The problem is, later came, but the city part never really did. For decades, developers sold huge numbers of lots with names that sounded luxurious, even when many of those streets had no sidewalks, limited utilities, and no real town center to support them. That's not a suburb. That's a blueprint without the building. Here's what reality looks like. Population growth surged, then slowed as services struggled to keep up. Home prices climbed fast. Some vacant lots now cost more than actual homes in other parts of Florida. Infrastructure ratings remain low, with many roads still unpaved or only partially completed. The job market nearby is thin. meaning many residents face long daily commutes just to reach major employers. Add in high flood and hurricane exposure, with limited municipal flood control, and the risk factor becomes part of daily life. One local described it best. It feels like living in a neighborhood city planners forgot to come back to. Lehigh Acres isn't collapsing. It's spreading. Homes are scattered across huge distances like unfinished sentences in a story that never got edited. People move here for the cheap land, then realize they're living next to miles of nothing. No walkable center. No nearby job hubs. Just long drives and long waits. And when services finally arrive, roads, utilities, broadband, they don't arrive as perks. They arrive as bills. The emotional cost is quiet but real. It's the frustration of buying into a dream and realizing the dream came in pieces. You didn't buy a finished town. You bought a promise to someday have one. And some of the planning choices feel surreal. Traffic lights at nearly empty intersections. Major road, names pointing toward undeveloped land. Street signs that look bigger than the neighborhoods they serve. It's like the city was built for a population that never fully moved in. Lehigh Acres was sold as opportunity. What many people found instead was a waiting game. Affordable land didn't mean affordable living. Cheap lots turned into long commutes, rising costs, and unexpected infrastructure expenses. Some people stay for the space. Others leave because space without structure doesn't feel peaceful. It feels unfinished. Number 1, Miami. Miami, the glossy, sun-soaked skyline of South Florida. Turquoise water, luxury condos, 5-star dining, rooftop pools, neon nightlife. A city that looks like it was designed for postcards and influencer reels. It's also the number 1 Florida city where more and more people are quietly deciding it's time to go, at least when you look at domestic migration. In the most recent yearly data, Miami posted one of the largest net losses of U.S. residents in the entire country, putting it in the same outflow category as places like New York and Los Angeles. Tens of thousands of people packed up and moved to cheaper states. But here's the twist. Miami's total population is still growing. Why? Because while Americans are moving out, international arrivals are moving in. So Miami isn't shrinking. It's rotating. And that tells you a lot about what living here has become. Let's break down the Miami reality. First, the cost of living squeeze. Nearly 6 out of 10 renters in the Miami metro spend 30% or more of their income just on housing. That puts Miami among the most rent-burdened major cities in the U.S. Even with small dips in rent, 1-bedroom apartments regularly push past $2,000 a month. And that's for places that don't always match the luxury price tag. Second, domestic migration out. Large numbers of residents are relocating to states like Georgia, the Carolinas, Texas, and Tennessee, places where the same income stretches further and homeownership feels less like a fantasy. Third, jobs versus reality. Miami's economy is massive and diverse. Finance, tech, tourism, trade, healthcare, the jobs exist. But income inequality is sharp. A lot of people are working hard in a city that prices them out faster than their raises can keep up. Miami is where your lifestyle looks rich, even if your bank account disagrees. You can watch the sunrise over the ocean while you're checking balance practices, survival mode. Sunset is beautiful. Rent day is violent. Traffic makes you question time itself. Parking makes you question your life choices. And somehow, everyone on a scooter believes traffic laws are more like friendly suggestions. Miami still feels like paradise. And for many people, it still is. But paradise now comes with a price tag that a lot of long-term locals never planned for. So people aren't leaving because they hate Miami. They're leaving because the math stopped working. Miami isn't collapsing. It's being reshaped in real time. It's turning into a city for high earners, global money, and people who can absorb the costs, while middle-income residents quietly search for somewhere that still feels like Florida, just with fewer commas on the rent check. If you've ever been priced out of a dream and laughed about it later, you already understand Miami.